Hi, my name is Petya and I'm a certified NLP coach with an interest in practical psychology. Or, in other words, why do we do the things we do on a daily basis? Today, I'm going to share with you 7 hidden signs of being in a toxic relationship. This topic is particularly important to me because I myself have been in a toxic relationship for 7 years on end. With that in mind, I want to help people who might be in a similar situation because I recognize the detrimental effect being in such a relationship can take on your mental health, self-esteem, and even physical health. That being said, let's get started. Number 1 sign of being in a toxic relationship is finding yourself constantly walking on eggshells. Let me ask you this. Do you often find yourself overthinking what to say to your partner, how to say it and when to say it? Is their mood good? Are they gonna take it well? If you are afraid of how they might react, chances are you're in a toxic relationship. Sign number 2 is the fading boundaries. So once you start a relationship, you have 3 entities: you, your partner, and you in the relationship. So the thing that happens with eroding boundaries is that your partner starts stretching them. For example, if you say you need more personal space, they don't take it seriously. They take it as a challenge to overcome. They're like, oh, you're being selfish. Or you might want to meet friends and they're saying, no, spend time with me instead. And then you're like, yeah, but I promised my friends to see them, or we always see each other once a week. And then your partner says, oh, but it's so good spending time with you. Let's enjoy this more. And you'll catch up with your friends next week. And so you give in and you give in, and in psychology this is called the boiling frog syndrome. Why? Because if you put a frog in boiling water, it would immediately jump out, right? Or try to escape. But if you put it in cool water and then gradually heat it up, at some point the frog will not notice the danger. It will just stay there and it will stay until the water gets boiling. So that's one of the things. Then we have sign number 3, the emotional roller coaster. Meaning, one moment your partner is acting great and they're loving and they're caring and they're a sweetheart and you love being around them. But the next moment, or next day rather, they're acting cold and distant and grumpy and you're wondering what happened, what went wrong. So what happens is actually this intermittent reward cycle where you're being rewarded with good behavior and you want to see it again and you keep making effort to please them, to be all they want, to bend backwards for them in hope that these good times will return. But they just don't, or next time they return it might be over a longer period of time. This is also a very powerful tool to keep you hooked, because this intermittent reward is also associated with gambling, which is highly addictive. And people spin the machines and they wait for the next win, and they can keep on doing this, but it's actually very harmful. Next, we have sign number 4, the shrinking world, or in other words, isolation. So remember how I mentioned in the beginning, you had you, your partner, and you two as a whole in the relationship. So this whole becomes predominant and you start seeing your friends less and less, you start hanging out with other people less because your partner consumes your world. And it's also a form of control, often used in cults. Why? Because if you're isolated from your usual environment, you can't tell right from wrong. all that becomes right or wrong becomes your partner, right? They tell you, okay, this is right, this is wrong, and that's the ultimate truth. And you have no other reference points of whether this is healthy, of whether this is acceptable or normal. And so you start referencing to them for answers. Next, we have sign number 5, gaslighting, or in other words, manipulating your reality. So the term gaslighting comes from a movie from 1944 in which the husband dims the gaslights in the home and the wife is made to feel crazy because she knows that and she says something is going on. He's like, I have no clue what you're talking about. So in a toxic relationship, that might manifest like you sharing your needs or saying something like, hey, what you said really hurt me. And then your partner goes, oh, you're too sensitive. Or you're being dramatic again. Or I didn't mean it like that. Learn how to interpret it. And it's basically a very insensitive way to respond to your needs, and you're made to feel as if there's something wrong with you, as if you want too much and you're bothering them. And so you start to shut down, right? You're like, okay, maybe I am being dramatic. I won't be saying that next time. I'll think twice. And it's really sad because it can really get to you, especially if you're in such a vulnerable state. Next, we have sign number 6, keeping score. So in a healthy relationship, problems occur like in any relationship. And so if you want to discuss a problem with your partner, they'll be open to it and they will listen. Maybe they won't agree with everything you say, but they will listen and they're not supposed to blame you. But in a toxic relationship, when you note a problem and you go to your partner and you say, hey, we need to talk about this because, for example, I don't feel happy. And then they might start putting a list of all the things they did for you, and they'll be like, what are you complaining about? Am I not doing enough for you? And then you're gonna feel as if, oh, I shouldn't talk to them. I better not. Maybe it's not a good idea. And again, you're made to feel like you're losing, like you're not doing enough for them and they're doing everything for you, but you're being ungrateful, you're being spoiled, and what would you want of them? Why would you even bother them, right? So it's a really nasty feeling again, and if you have been there, I'm sorry, and please know that you're not alone. Now, sign number 7 is the worst sign of all because it's the eroding self-trust, the decreased confidence. So you start to question your decisions, you start being more indecisive, and you again start asking your partner for permission, for advice, even for things that don't normally need any permission. And so you are thinking what to wear, what to say, how to act, who to go out with as friends, and you might notice apologizing multiple times, even when the thing that happened was not your fault. So the loss of self-trust can be detrimental and haunt you long after you end a toxic relationship. This is why it's advisable that if you do notice one or more of these signs, you speak with a licensed therapist. What helped me is reaching out to a therapist who is certified in cognitive behavioral psychology, because language and the way we dress up our thoughts affects our emotions. So first there is a thought, then there's the words we dress it up in, and afterward comes the emotion. With that in mind, you can really alter your state of mind. You can become aware of unhealthy patterns and also make an action plan to leave. It's not easy, and I know that it will take some time to realize that, to accept it, and also to move on. But I want you to know that I believe in you. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with someone who might need to hear this, because the right information at the right time can make a world of difference. Thank you for being here with me, and I will see you in the next video.